At 14, I went a bit wild. I think there was a lot of violence in my house.
Yeah.
A lot of domestic violence. I was living on my own from the age of 14. My mum's husband smashed the house up with a sledgehammer at 11:30 on Christmas Eve one night. But I ran straight into the arms of people who wanted to criminally exploit me, had me running drugs. Got diagnosed with polycystic ovaries a year and a half later because I ended up having 9 miscarriages. And in a year and a half. The moment I realised I can go and get a bag now and I'll be alright. Boom, that was the moment my addiction was born.
Welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today I have a visitor that I've known for some time from previous job. However, he's not actually from this country. So I'm going to welcome on today the wonderful Danielle.
Hi, Carl.
How are you? You all right?
I'm good, thank you.
You've got all, please believe me, she wasn't always calm before we started recording. Please believe me, I can assure you. So welcome to, well, first of all, welcome to England. And second of all, welcome to Leeds.
Yes.
Good journey?
Great. Yeah, it was nice.
Good. Steady drive?
Yes.
Okay. So there will be subtitles underneath, but you won't need them for Danielle.
My accent's not that bad. Come on.
So you understand how the podcast works. I've got one question for you off the back of that is how we work it. And at the end, you can ask me anything you want. Nothing's off limits. Okay. So my first question is, who are you?
So I am Danielle John. I am from Wales and I am somebody with lived experience who is planning on making some changes.
Okay. So we'll start from the beginning. We'll start with earliest childhood memory. Obviously you can't remember being born. You won't remember that. What's earliest childhood memory? So that's parents, brothers, sisters, X, Y, and Z.
It's weird that you've asked me that. My first childhood memory was my dad actually swinging me around in the living room as a kid and dislocated my shoulder.
Right. But by the way, okay. just to clarify.
Accidental.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was actually my first memory that I have.
Okay. So fun times then? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was before my dad left, so yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Brothers and sisters?
I have 2 brothers. Me and my younger brother has the same dad, and then a younger brother again who's 10 years younger, different dad.
Okay, different dad. Okay, so you said that before dad left, how old was you when he left?
Just after 3. Okay. I was when he left. It was just before. I think that's probably why that memory stays in my head. It's probably the only one I have.
Of your dad?
Yeah, from when he lived with us.
Okay, so you never saw him?
Yeah, I did see him.
Okay.
But it was from when we were all a unit, I think that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you from because I don't know how the Welsh education system works. So did it used to be primary, middle, high, and now it's just primary, high? Or has it always been primary, high?
No, there's primary, juniors, and then high. So yeah, primary, middle, high.
Oh, right. So they've still got that now?
Yeah. So you go primary school and then...
So is it primary till 9?
And then standard 1, standard 2, standard 3. Yeah, standard 4 and then high school. Yeah.
Oh, right. So how ours works, you went primary school till you was 9. Then middle school year 1, 2, 3, 4 till you was 13.
Yeah.
And then you went to high school.
Yeah. So it's the same thing, it's just called different.
See, we don't have that now.
Do you know?
No, so ours is now primary till you're 11. And then you go to...
It might have changed in Wales, because my son didn't grow up in Wales either, so I don't know what the school is in Wales since I was a kid. It's a long time since I was in school, Carl.
Touche. I'm not gonna argue with you. Okay, so let's go with you in school. So you went to the primary, junior, high.
Yeah.
So how was primary school for you? Up until 9, it was 9, wasn't it?
I moved around a lot when I was a kid.
Okay.
When my mum and dad split up, my mum had her own like mental health and domestic violence, and we moved around. So by the time I was 10, I probably went to just as many primary schools.
All right, okay.
I remember going to one day and coming home from school, the house would be smashed up and we were moving. So that was like one day in one school, a couple of days in another, couple of weeks in another, couple of months in another.
Do you think long term that hindered you?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I used to try and have to make friends quick. So I would become a storyteller, you know, telling people, trying to make people like me really quick because they didn't have time to get to know me. So I'd have to be in there, make friends and get out really quick before I moved again. So yeah, it did. It caused me a lot of problems when I was younger.
So you went to, from primary, then you called juniors. So
Yeah.
you went to juniors. Was you settled then once you went to juniors?
So when about 10, we settled in St Mellons in Cardiff, and I went to Willowbrook Primary School, settled there.
So you stayed there for all your 4 years?
For 2 of the years.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was when we were settled, the last 2 years, Standard 3 and Standard 4, before high school.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Because now we're going to get on to high school, aren't we?
Yes.
Do you know, one of the few things that was a little bit weird for me, because obviously we previously worked together at another organisation, and when I came down, it's one of the first questions you kind of ask, and can I just say, anybody that gets the opportunity to go to Wales, I keep forgetting the road to what it's on, where you can actually, where people talk about the valleys, but you can actually see the valleys and
Yes.
the houses. Like, it's just houses just everywhere, little pots of them, and the lights are on, and you're actually in the valley, and the slopes coming down.
Yeah,
it is
it's
beautiful,
beautiful.
really beautiful. But all the people that I worked with that was at St Giles in Wales didn't actually speak Welsh.
No, from South Wales. So everyone you met from Cardiff,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have spoke Wales. You know, we're very close to the English border, so.
Because they were saying to me it's more like the countryside that kind
So
of...
more North Wales.
Yeah. So they...
more north and more west you go. The more further away from England in both directions, the more Welsh speaking there is.
Yeah, because... And then also they were saying that it takes... Oh, that's where I got a bit confused when we were talking about. They were saying that it takes longer it's quicker to get to England than what it is to go from South Wales to North Wales.
Yeah.
That's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it'd take you 5 hours to drive from Cardiff to North Wales, 4 or 5 hours.
But you can get to London in 2
From
hours.
Cardiff in 2, yeah.
That's mad, that, isn't it?
2.5 hours, yeah.
Is that because of the country roads?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
And it's deceiving. It looks like a small country, but when you're driving, like we have some big roads now, don't get me wrong, or you can come up the M5 and in that way, you know. But
Yeah, because like you can get Leeds to London, and well, I mean, a steady drive, you do it in like 3 hours, 3.5 hours from here to London.
yeah, well, it took me 3.5, 4 hours to get here today from Cardiff.
Mad, crazy. Okay, digressing. So we're getting to secondary school. So we're 13, going up. How was high school for you? I'm guessing you was now settled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I played football. I was football crazy when I went to high school. And I think for the first 2 years, I was okay in school. I got picked on by a group of 10 girls because I was the only girl on the football team. So every lunchtime, every break, I was out playing football. And I think that was the only thing that kept me under control in school because it wore out my energy.
Okay.
But the first 2 years were fine. The third year, I turned 14 in the October. So I was picked for the first team in September. I was on the team, like I was one of the boys. And I turned 14 and they were like, you can't play football with the boys no more. Because I was a girl.
Right.
And they had no girls team. So I was expelled by the end of the year.
Okay, so your focus was football. So you was football oriented. Did anybody influence you there? Was that brother influence
It's
or?
the streets, my area.
Okay.
I always played it in the community centres. I was always one of the boys. My family was all full of boys. I was always one of the boys. I liked playing football. I loved it. Absolutely loved football.
Okay, so just to clarify, you got picked for the first team, Then they said you couldn't play for the first team
As soon as I turned 14.
as soon as you turned 14. So that, I'm guessing that's the age that they had, the age limit at that
Yeah,
stage was.
when you're a girl, you can't play with the boys. You might get hurt. There was more chance of me hurting them back then. But
I actually can imagine that, to be fair. So the one thing that's keeping you on point, focused, is then taken away from you, stripped away from you, and that's when you're expelled from
well,
school.
then I wasn't playing football at lunchtime and on the break times. I was mingling, and then those girls that were picking on me, I was bumping into them a lot more because I wasn't on the pitch playing football. So by the end of that year, I had 9 fights.
Okay.
In the 1 year.
So you get kicked, you expelled out of school?
Yeah.
Do you ever go back to school after that?
Yeah, they sent me to Mary Immaculate.
Sent you where, sorry?
Mary Immaculate. It was on the other side of Cardiff.
Sounds like a Catholic school.
Catholic, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying to imagine you in a Catholic school. I do apologise, because you shouldn't really do something like that, but I am actually genuinely...
Yeah. I didn't choose to put myself in a Catholic school. Family thing, innit? My dad's and all my mum was in Catholic schools. But yeah, they sent me to Mary Immaculate after that on the first day. You know, I said 10 girls were picking on me, and I had 9 fights in the 1 year. So the first day I went to Mary Immaculate, I walked in the lunch hall, and the one girl was the reason why I didn't get her in the last school was because she had moved schools and I didn't know. And then I walked into the school and she was there. So that first day.
On the first day?
Well, yeah, as soon as I seen her.
Oh. So...
At 14, I went a bit wild. I think there was a lot of violence in my house.
Yeah.
A lot of domestic violence. Me and my brother would be involved in the violence when my mum was when fighting with her partners. And
defending your mum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I got kicked out of the football team and like it was all escalating in my house, those fights were how it
more
came
frequent,
out.
yeah.
And then when I went to that one school and she was there and it was still going on, all the violence, it was actually getting worse because my mum's husband had moved us. So I was just...
And again, I think people don't seem to realise the significance of childhood trauma as well, do they? Which I know that you're probably... I'm trying to think before I say this next thing. In fact, no, I can't. I think I can definitely say, I think you are probably the person that I know of that is the biggest advocate of explaining and trying to make others understand the importance of recognising childhood trauma.
Yeah,
which I'll 1,000,000% I'm going to let you touch on, because I know it's one of the things that's going to come flowing from you.
It's just people don't realise the impact that it has. You know, I couldn't communicate. I was undiagnosed ADHD and autism, you know, and I was living in survival mode by the time I was 10. You know, there's things like the polyvagal theory, right, which will talk about, you know, the different dorsals and, you know, your nervous system and how that holds all the trauma that you experience through life. It doesn't go away just because you're out of that situation. You hold it, and it will change the way you think. It will change the way you react to things. It will, you know, it will change the whole course of your future just by experiencing trauma.
100%. Well, again, I'm going to let you, 100%, I'm going to let you flow with that, because I know you well enough to know that is your, and obviously we'll talk about what you're doing now. So, okay, so I'm guessing you didn't do GCSEs?
No.
Okay, no.
No.
Okay, so talk to me. So at the age of leaving school, so we're at 16. Let's go 16 to 18.
Okay.
What's
16,
happening with you now?
I was in prison.
Okay, right. Well, again, for this on here, we don't glamorise. All we'll say is that you committed a criminal offence and you went to prison. Okay, so you come out. Then where are we? So
I went to Dublin then. I met my son's father over in Cardiff. He was working and he lived in Dublin. So I thought, right, I'm not getting nowhere here in Cardiff. Let's piss off. And that's what I did.
Okay, so how old are you now?
17.
So wow. So you are young, aren't you?
Yeah. I was living on my own from the age of 14.
Okay.
So when I got kicked out of school and stuff, and there was a lot happened between 14 and 16 in my life. My mum's husband smashed the house up with a sledgehammer at 11:30 on Christmas Eve one night. when I was 14, 15, and my family splintered and I lived on my own. Then it was just before my 15th birthday. But I ran straight into the arms of people who wanted to criminally exploit me, had me running drugs back and forth London. I could drive at 15, so I had a skill that people seen as a commodity. I was stabbed and beaten at 15, and then I was in prison at 16, and then in Dublin at 17.
Wow. It's a story. But what I will say is consciously, there's something within your mind that goes to you, this is not right here.
Yeah.
So it's that bit that takes up. Because I'm guessing for what you've seen and what the circumstances that you went through, you've probably grown up a lot quicker than what you actually should have. 'Cause I'm a big advocate of let a child be a child for as long as possible because they've got the rest of their life to be an adult. But I'm guessing with you from the age of, like you said, 10, and you've been witnessing all these things, to then consciously go, met this new guy, do you know what it is? I'm going to go with him to Ireland. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we go to Ireland. Everything.
No, I went from one disaster to another.
Okay.
So what I didn't realise about this guy that I went to Dublin with, even though he's a good guy, I was with him for 12 years, but he introduced me to drugs I wasn't used to being introduced to. So I was always taking party drugs, you know, a bit of sniff or a bit of acid or E. They were the things in the 90s.
Yeah.
But when I went to Dublin, when they used to go out clubbing and sniffing and taking E, they used to come home and smoke heroin as a come down.
Yeah.
And I was only 17. I didn't know what that drug was. And what I didn't realise is that he had been smoking it on and off for years. And he was like what you would call a high-functioning heroin addict.
Okay.
He never behaved like an addict, ever. He never even...
He got up, went to work, came home.
Yeah.
So everything was...
Even if he didn't have the drug, he would still go to work, and the withdrawals or nothing would ever get to him. I don't know. And he's still, to this day, the same. High-functioning IT, thousands of pounds he's on. And it's never, ever bent him or broke him. I don't understand. I've never met a person like him before. It was being able to use that drug for so long and being able to stay on top of it and never have a problem. He's the only person I've ever met in my journey.
I've never even heard of that, ever.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like I interviewed a lovely girl called Charlie, and she met a guy, again, being young, and she didn't know the drug, very similar to what you're saying, but he used to just put it in a spliff, and she was smoking it, and one day she woke up and had the pains, and then when he took her, he said, "Oh, try this." She was saying, "No, I don't want it," and he went, "Look, try it, it's going to make you feel better." And that's when she realised that all that time it wasn't weed that he was giving it, it wasn't cannabis, it was actually heroin that he'd been giving her.
That was the addiction.
Yeah.
So I had a similar moment with heroin. So I was smoking it. I didn't know it caused addiction. I was just taking it like I took the other drugs.
Yeah.
And after I had my son, we would stop going clubbing. So we would just after he went to bed, we would just sit and have a smoke.
Okay.
And it was just like a casual thing, but I didn't realise at all. I didn't have a clue, didn't have any friends who were addicted. He could just take it and leave it as he went. So I never thought about addiction at all. I was a kid, I was naive. And I remember one day he was in work and I was walking to the shop and I bumped into one girl that I'd had a smoke with, and I'm like, I got the flu, I gotta go back to bed.
That's what she said. That's exactly what Charlie said. She went, I've got the flu or something.
If I hadn't bumped into that girl that day, I would have gone home, I would have got into bed and I would have rolled it out thinking it was the flu. But Maureen turned around and said, "It's not the flu, Dan, you're clucking." And it was in that moment I realised I can go and get a bag now and I'll be alright. Boom, that was the moment my addiction was born.
Wow.
In that moment, I remember exactly stood on that bridge because I was going home to get into bed. I thought I had the flu. It's terrible what your mind can do to you, the power that it has. Once I didn't know, I was going home and I was getting into bed and I would have gone to sleep. It would have happened somewhere along the line. But in that moment, if she hadn't have said this to me, I would have gone home and gone to sleep.
Because it's crazy that you said it, because again, Charlie sat exactly where you are. He's saying, she woke up in the morning, he was like, "Come on, we need to go out." And she was like, "Oh, let me get ready." And he said, "Oh, I feel like I've got a cold, I feel it really." And he said, "Come with me." And that's when, then she just realised, and "Oh no, sorry." She said to him, this isn't weed, is it? And he went, no. And what was worse about that was he turned around to him and said, yeah, you won't leave me now, will you, you bitch? So all that
So
time.
that was sly.
Yeah.
At least when I was smoking it, I knew what I was smoking, but I didn't know.
But you didn't know
the effects
of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So was your son born with addiction? So
No.
All right. Okay.
No. So after he was born,
Okay.
we stopped going clubbing, and then that's when the smoking came in. So luckily enough, so it was after he was born when your sort of life stopped.
Yeah.
So I stopped going
You're
out
indoors,
socialising. I was indoors, and that became because you wasn't taking E while you were sat in the house. Do you know what I mean? That was the only drug that we could have taken, sat chilling, and that's what we did.
And again, being in the company of a man that you see, or in company of somebody who is not showing no form, nothing, no withdrawals, no addiction, no rattles, no nothing. You're thinking, oh well, it can't be. Again, and being young. So how old? So you have your son at 17, 18? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have your son at 18.
Yeah.
You then go to the shop and you see Maureen. Yeah. She tells you X, Y, and Z. You think you've got a cold. So what is the turnaround from that now? When that realization goes, what is it? Is it you go, shit, I'm addicted to heroin now? Or is it a, what do I do now moment? I've got a son. What's going on through your mind there?
Straight away was, get a bag then, I'll feel better.
Wow. Okay.
It was. That was it. And it was mad because I didn't need it all the time. So it wasn't as if like it went straight into full blown. It was something that gradually crept up. So I started sneaking around more behind the dad's back.
Okay, right.
Smoking it.
So your addiction got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you wasn't just doing it with him no more. You was now okay.
Yeah, because he was quite controlled over it.
Right.
But then like I couldn't control it the way he could. I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't even stand the withdrawals. Like he would just sit and ride it out, and I'd be like, I can't do that. The pain was immense. Like I couldn't. No way.
And you're looking at this guy going, how is he doing that?
I don't know. He used to do it, and he used to work in attic insulation. So he would go to work up in an attic, boiling hot, belt out and insulate it, like while he was full-blown clucking. And he would not quit, like, and he would not back down and go and get a bag. Wow. He was so headstrong. He never ever admitted that he still won't today that he's an addict. He still won't.
Is that because he still feels like he's in control of it?
Well, he is in control. He's never had a fall.
Yeah, wow.
That's why.
I've never heard
of it. But heroin is not, it's like a crack addiction becomes very expensive. If you're not lashing heroin out of it and you're just maintaining and you're not overusing, then you can have quite a normal life because you could spend 20, 30, 40 quid a day and it would be okay. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you turn to crack or something, then that's hundreds upon hundreds and you can't stop.
But then again, the two different elements out there, because your crack cocaine is more of a psychological drug, whereas your heroin is a dependent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So now the realization is you're sneaking around. What happens? Because I'm guessing at some stage you leave Ireland.
Oh, not for a long time.
Oh, right. Okay.
So me and him ended up splitting up. I was going out shoplifting. He stopped giving me money because I was over there. I was just getting benefits at the time because I had had my son. And he stopped. He was controlling all the money because he worked. So because he noticed I was smoking more, he became more controlling, which to me was the worst thing that he could do because I just rebelled and done it anyway, even more so probably because he tried to stop me. We ended up sort of splitting up and my mum ended up having my son.
Back in Wales?
No, my mum came over to Ireland as well. Well, my nan is from Ireland anyway, my mum's mum.
Okay.
So she jumped on a ferry and come over just around the time my son was born.
All right, okay. So your mum took on your son.
Yeah.
So I suppose that then gives you the freedom then, doesn't it? In a sense. I don't mean that in a sense of freedom because you don't...
No, because it meant I didn't have nothing to hold me back. Yeah.
It's the freedom of I can do what I want now.
Yeah.
Whereas you're kind of limited because you have a son who depends on you.
Yeah.
Whereas now you go, well, my son's looked after. He's going to be okay. I can now do
Yeah. Well, my mum rang social services on me. She did, and they came to my house, and they were going to take him, and I was like, "You ain't taking him. The only place he's going is with my mother." And so they let him go with my mum, and then I went for about a year. I went totally off the wall, like
I've lost my
literally
son now.
off the wall. There was nothing holding me back. I nosedived straight into that life. Then.
Okay. Is your mum still in Ireland?
No.
Oh, she come back.
Yeah, she followed me back there when I come home.
So although you said, because I'm gonna go back now, because although I was living on my own for 14 because of things that was going on. I'm guessing there's a very strong relationship between you and your mum where you should come over to Ireland.
Yeah, we do. We
Is it something that's been built up over time?
Yeah, we've always I think because of all the trauma, I think we have a very strong connection, but we've also crossed the boundaries between mother and daughter.
At times.
Yeah. I've sat and done drugs with my mum, been in a lot of violent situations with my mother. And I think that just changes the relationship.
Yeah.
My mum still thinks she rules me and I'm a child, mind.
But it's the ironic thing about mothers and fathers, isn't it? Because regardless of anything, even when you're gone, you'll still be their mother and father, won't you? So it's kind of a weird experience to have over you, isn't it? Because my mum's still here, but even when my mum was dead, she'll still always be my mum. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I understand the elements of them, and I suppose it's a thin line that you're treading, because how do you keep that same form of respect with your mother when you, like you say, you've done drugs with her and there's a level of violence that you see, and there might be there will have been times where
we have a really tight bond. Like we'll have an argument and we could go months without talking to each other, but the second either one picked up the phone,
it's gone.
Yeah. So it's still not a proper normal relationship.
Okay, so we go off the rails. So when because I'm guessing within this time of you being off the rails and you are shoplifting, I'm guessing there's going to be times where you've spent time away, being in prison, XYZ, which is another thing we don't get into the realms of it. So let's talk about final time in prison. Or do you stop the drugs before that, or did they coincide?
So yeah, I got off the heroin in Dublin. I went back to college, studied law.
Oh, right.
I did a level 5 in legal practice and procedures. I was training as a legal secretary, working in a couple of solicitors' office in Dublin. Then I came back in 2012.
Okay, so let's just go back. So when you come off the heroin, is this whilst in prison?
No, I never got a sentence in Dublin. I was only ever thrown in for I always took warrants, so I never went to court.
Right,
so I'd always, in Dublin, it's a bit weird because the police can just drop you at the prison.
All right, okay.
So I remember once I used to give false names and stuff because I was in a different country, and I got arrested once and they didn't know what my real name was. So they threw me in the prison until I had somebody come over with my ID to prove who I was. So I had to get my mum to come over with my ID. I spent about 6-8 weeks in prison, and then as soon as my mum brought the ID, they let me out.
Okay.
I'd done a lot of them sort of stints in Dublin prison.
Right. Okay.
So there was never a sentence, but just in for breaches and warrants and in and out. It was like a police station, the prison over there. It was a bit weird, but
okay.
Yeah.
So then that's when you come out, and so where's the realization where you go, I need to stop this now?
I think I'd done that in about 2006, and I just had enough. So I spent, in all, from the very first day I smoked heroin to the very last, it was 5 years. So around 23, I was just I had enough. It was twice I've been in addiction, then and then later, but they've never been long term. So it's always been after a trauma, and I've just dived in for a couple of years and buried my head and then come back out. I get bored very quick. So even though I was stuck in that lifestyle, I got to a point where I was like, right, this needs to change. But the one thing they had over there that they don't have over here is the drug courts. And they put me on the drug courts in Dublin, which took me out of the criminal court, stopped me from getting all these extra fines and all these things on top that I couldn't manage. And I worked with a judge on sorting myself out, and I went to rehab.
It's, yeah, do you know what it is? Again, it's so weird how close entwined your stories are. Because again, with Charlie, nobody had ever given her that chance, and it was the judge that had actually said it. It says, has this woman ever had or tried rehab? And they said no, and that was the time for her. Really, really. So is that your first stint when you stopped? Because you said two times.
Yeah.
So you're working as a lawyer.
So I was working as a legal secretary,
yeah.
not a lawyer.
Yeah, sorry. Legal secretary, and then you come back to Wales.
Yeah.
Okay, so what year are we in now?
2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when does the second stint come in?
2015.
Okay. So what happens between 2012 and 2015?
I was working different jobs, but then I started doing the pub scene. Started seeing one of the fellas in my local area. It was like one of the big boys. And then like it was the pint and a line culture in the pub, innit? Yeah. So the sniff was on the scene. And the sniff was always on the scene. So everyone had come after the pub, all the boys had come to my house after the pub, and they'd be sniffing and drinking. But in 2015, I found out I was pregnant. And then I had a miscarriage.
Okay.
And that then made me think for some reason that I wanted a baby. I think it was just the hormones, because it wasn't actually what I wanted. But I ended up trying, and then I got diagnosed with polycystic ovaries a year and a half later, because I ended up having 9 miscarriages. And in a year and a half, which totally sent my... It's
that part of motherhood that is being taken away from you, isn't it?
Now I realise I didn't really want it. It was the fact that because I kept losing and trying and losing, it kept making me want it even more. But yeah, that sent my head south for a while, and then I ended up going from the sniff to the crack.
Okay.
Then...
Okay. So talk to us about, so after that, 2015, it's your second drug addiction. So what happens then? When does the realisation come back in again that you go, I need to stop this?
Couple of prison sentences, short term, just in and out because it was shoplifting. 2018 was my last prison sentence. And I had just had enough. It was 2.5 years. I think I was coming out the other side of the trauma from the miscarriages, and I wasn't getting therapy. It was just myself dealing with it. And yeah, I think that again, I was just dived into drugs to numb that out again. And just getting to a point where it's like, there was nothing left of me. I was wearing age 11 jeans. And I'm not a small girl. Do you know what I mean? I'm 5'10". I was wearing age 11 jeans with tracksuit bottoms underneath. Like literally, I was bone, I was skeleton. I looked like I was dead. It was just, there was nothing left of me. I was just, if I had carried on, I would have died. I wasn't eating. I wasn't doing nothing. I was literally just smoking from day to night. And everyone lent me money. Everybody knew I could make money. I could just make a phone call and have whatever I wanted. So I just got into a situation where I just was constantly off my face, making money.
So then, last prison sentence, you go, nah.
I just couldn't do it no more. It was just like, I need to sort myself out. There was nothing left of me, not a bit of meat on me, not like if I had carried on from that stage, then yeah, there probably would have been the end of me. So I just had to sort myself out. And I think it was the first time I'd ever been in prison really and had to fight for a habit. Because I used drugs in there coming down off the crack, and that, to me, I'd never done that before. Because I'd always just had like a bit of meth going in. So I never chased drugs in the prison. This time I did, and it was a whole another level. Being dependent on drugs that you couldn't get when you were in prison. Like that was, that's got to end now. It was just done for me. I couldn't do it no more.
So come out, rehabilitation?
I went back to my flat. I relapsed for a couple of about 3 months. I got out of prison in 2008 and went back to my flat, and it was all boarded up, gridded up. The council had gridded it up because people had broke into my flat knowing that I was in prison and was using it as a drug house. Yeah. and they had boarded it up. So I got back to my flat not knowing anything because they didn't even
Yeah, because
tell
what
me.
people don't realise is that they will continually pay for your flat depending on the length of sentence you're doing.
I never had a sentence over 6 months, so my flat was still there. But they had destroyed it, literally. Like, I didn't even realise. So I was coming out thinking that I was going home, and I got back to a boarded up flat, and then when the council came up and took the grids off, literally, it was destroyed. I was like, and they were like, well, you've got to deal with it. So yeah, I was straight back on the pipe that day.
Okay.
And I did for a few months, and my probation officer was actually the one that talked me down and got in my head a bit and just made me leave it alone. I was going on a bus one day to shoplift, and I thought, I can't do this no more. So I rang my mother. I was like, I'm done. She was like, get on a bus and come up here. So I got off the bus. Instead of going shoplifting, I got on a bus and went up my mother's and stayed there for a year. And
that's it.
Done.
Well done you. Well done. But people say did you seek any help, or was it only because through doing this I've learned that you do white knuckling, so it's where you're not getting no help, but it's 12 steps or whatever it might be. So did you just white knuckle it, or did you get
help?
So
I got court ordered to go to the Voddle, which is where you go and get your script and your drug treatment. But I didn't get no counselling, no therapy, no nothing. I just went there, picked up my script and left. But no, I didn't do none of that.
Okay.
I dived into psychology myself.
Right, okay. Because you're doing numerous things now as well, because you're also doing a degree. So talk to me without naming organisations, so you then joined an organisation where I was as well. So when did you join them?
2021.
Okay. So you're after the lockdown and all that.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. So 2020. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2021. So you go to them because it's an organisation with lived experience where you're given a chance to prove yourself. And do you think that's where you find your niche?
Yeah. So just before I went there, I'd done a couple of other little courses. And I started volunteering for another organisation, a homeless charity. And then it was my probation officer that said, why don't you do a peer advisor program? And it was there.
Oh, so you started as a peer advisor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, a peer mentor.
Yeah, and then went to full-time employment?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did, how many years did you do?
As a peer mentor?
No, at the organisation at all.
Oh, so 3 years.
Because the highlight of your year is where you actually present at the annual conference. So you're like the, what would you call it? What do they call them? So you're the one that introduces everybody, aren't you? How did you find that?
It was good. I've done loads of things in St. Giles. So in that 3 years, I can't, like when I think and say it was only 3 years.
You did a lot. You crammed a lot in.
A lot in them 3 years.
Is that because you was chasing?
Yeah, and I think I wasted so many years that it was like, no. And I found somewhere where I was accepted for me, which I've never been accepted for me anywhere before in my life, especially for like, with my lived experience, do you know what I mean? And it was so easy. The work was easy and I loved it.
Yeah.
And it was like, going from being a grafter weird out and I had to shoplift and I had to maintain a habit, like that was the hardest thing I ever done in my life. Coming to do a job like this now where I love it and I have the answers and the knowledge and it's not difficult. It feels like common sense to me.
Yeah.
And I can help so many other people, and I was always a people pleaser. But now I have a way of I can help people. I can be that people pleaser in a good way. So
do you know when you was there though, do you think it had a glass ceiling?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, my view. I mean, I made it to a service manager, but when you look at some organisations without pinpointing any step, you look at organisations, you go, they'll use a lived experience model, but they go, yeah, the lived experience model is okay for this at this level, but to go where you can actually put the change in for others to do that work, they go, no, you can see us, but you can't. We're not letting you do it, which is quite that. It's quite. Okay, so Before we move on to what you're doing now, I want to ask you, the reason why I'm going to ask you the question is because I've realised and I've recognised it in myself. So I'm just kind of inquiring if it's something that you've done or you know that you've done consciously or unconsciously, because I know this is within your field. So when I'm talking about trauma, I've had a way of suppressing that because my brain has come up with it's an amazing thing, your brain, and it's come up with a way where it goes,
Disassociation.
yeah, this is so pile on top, pile on top, pile, and every so often it will come up and it'll go, oh, hello, and I go, whoa, 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 I can't deal with you. You need to go back down. And again, like you said, the disassociation. So, because you're nodding away, I'm guessing it's something that you've done as well, isn't it?
Yes, massive. So when
it's so easy to do. People don't. I think. Sorry, because I think what gets to me and what people will never realise. People go, yeah, but you just got to talk about it. You just got to lay it out and have you cry and whatever it is. People don't realise it, like that you've compounded it that much. It's like trampling on things and you compound it and it goes rock solid where you're actually, in a way, you can't get underneath it no more.
No.
Because you've compounded it that much. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. Maybe you're going to be better at it. But
I feel like now when I look back on my lived experience that I have someone else's memories in my head. That it wasn't me. So it's like I've split the person in two. So there's my past. That's one part of my personality. And who I am today is totally different. I've split them in two. So like I can dig into my past now without getting emotional, because I've split them. It's weird. Wow. I've disassociated, and I think that's a protective factor, obviously, because there obviously is some things that I would probably think about if I went in deep with a counsellor. I think that would probably, but I don't. I'm totally disassociated from it now.
See, because that is my next step. Like, it is the psychologist side of it, which. Again, a very good friend of mine gave me a number, and I spoke to him on the phone. He was like, "Look, send me a message when you're ready." Well, so it's something that, because I've not done it for years, and again, like you said, the disassociation where I've just compounded it so much now that
you don't even know how to pick it.
And not only that, whether you would agree or not, it's not something you can speak. Like, I'm finding it hard to kind of explain the things to someone that I know, whereas I feel maybe if it's somebody that I don't know who's not going to judge me, it might be easy for me to do it that way. So it's just something that...
See, I've never got on with counselling because when it comes to my own feelings, I can't put them into words, and then I get frustrated because I can't say what I want to say.
Yeah.
So I'll work through it with the psychology, but I use ChatGPT.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry. Again, because you can answer a question for me. Do you ever have scenarios where you just want to say something but not have a discussion on what you're going to say based on your traumas?
What do you mean?
So you just want to go,
yeah,
but you don't want to have a conversation about it. You just want to be able to go,
yeah. But that's what I do. So I do it through writing.
Yeah, I've started doing that.
I write poetry.
You write poetry. I mean, mine's just where you're writing down the thing, yeah.
ChatGPT is what I'm using now. So it is really good to talk about your mental health with, because it will actually give you factual stuff. Obviously, you've got to be cautious because it's AI. But I've been using mine years now. I have rules.
It knows you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
ChatGPT learns the person.
I can talk to it about how I'm feeling. It'll explain it to me and break it down, and I'm learning. And I'm learning so much about my mental health by using ChatGPT, and I don't feel awkward or feeling like I'm traumatizing myself again by having to speak to somebody else and feeling that shame.
But I think because the thing about when you talk about it is because then it's forcing you then to open up the feelings that you don't actually want to open up.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like talking about it. So I don't. Like, I know what I've been through. I know I've got stuff that I hold on to, but it doesn't mean that I have to unleash it.
No, listen, the reason why I'm laughing is because it's like you have this thing where I've openly said that, I went through a stage where I was on a sofa for 2 years. Could function, did the things you meant to do, but for 2 years I was, and and I was speaking to her and I said, but I'm still the same person. Like, don't look at me and go, oh, like, I'm still me. Like, but there's just so much that's going on, and I think they're compounded. I knew you'd cover it well. I knew you'd So, talk to me about what you're doing now, because, I mean, you've got your regular job now, haven't you?
Yeah.
But then you have something that I've seen. I don't know too much of it, but the things that I have seen, it's fucking amazing, isn't it? It's going to be good.
It's going to be
But, and it's based on, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is it based on a time when you went somewhere and you've kind of pulled off that blueprint and you thought, right, I want to do this here. So what I want you to explain to everybody is the bit where you went and what you saw, and then how you're introducing it. I'm not going to say you're introducing it into England, but it's something that you're introducing into Wales, which, all being well, once you are so successful in Wales, I think it'll be a blueprint of what they bring into England. So, lucky we've got her first. So, tell us where you went and what you saw, and then tell us about Empower Her.
Yes.
Empower Her, yeah.
So last year, 2024, I went on a tithe learning exchange to Norway. So we got to go over there to a lived experience college in Trondheim to see how their services run. So we went over to see the college, and then we went out to see all their mental health and substance use organisations. We had a load of men coming in on Rottle from the prisons. So we got to learn about their criminal justice, all their services. And it was just a different world.
And this was in
Norway.
In Norway.
Yeah, in Trondheim in Norway. It was a game changer.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of countries that are doing that. I mean, when you look at like Portugal's another one.
Yeah.
Portugal's one. You've got Norway. Is the Finland as well? There's one in Finland.
All the Scandinavian.
Yeah, so most of Scandinavia. So tell me what you took from that, and then which is then going to lead us on to your organisation, which is Empower Her CIC.
Yeah, the Empower Her project.
Empower Her project.
So I went over there. It wasn't just the environment. It was everything about their services. So the second you walked into any of their services, it doesn't matter if they were commercial or whether they were in a building or out of the city. As soon as you walked in the door, they were designed like a home. Literally, like a lovely, luxurious home. So not one desk did you see in the whole space. I never seen a desk the whole time I was over there, except in the college, because it was a proper college. But all the services, all the support services, you didn't see a desk. There was no desks. There was no sitting in desks. It was all designed, beautiful kitchens, beautiful living rooms. So the second you went in, you felt like you were in a safe home.
To be fair, they have got IKEA over there, so you can only imagine all the stuff they have got.
But it was beautiful. Like there'd be as you walk in the door, every place had a shoe rack, a big bowl of clean socks. Everyone took their shoes off, and there was clean socks there if somebody needed clean socks. So everyone walked around barefooted, so you're grounded.
Yes.
There was just beautiful comfort. So when you're talking, you're not sat in a clinical space where your barriers are up across a desk from someone where you're feeling inferior straight away. You're in a space where you can't tell who's the staff, who's the service users. You know, there's a big, massive kitchen table where you all prepare food and sit and eat together every day. So they were building community. And it's one thing that we've lost over here is community. We don't have no community anymore. And when you're going into recovery, community is one of the most important things that you need. And it doesn't matter if it's from drugs, if it's just from the criminal justice system, whatever. That community is really important. And the vibe that they had. I felt safe in them services, and it's something I'd never felt in any service that I'd ever walked in the 20 years that I was using the services myself. It was just on a different level. I was able to engage in it. I was getting involved in activities. I was even doing creative things, and I'm not even creative. It was just pulling things out of me that I had never ever experienced in the services over here. And over here, we tell people be realistic. You can't do that. You've got a criminal record. So we get people to dampen their dreams straight away. And over there, they don't. The first activity they were like, what is your dream job? What would you love to do? And I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, but my dream job is just a dream, innit? You can't. And that's the way we think. And they're like, no, what's your dream thing? And I was talking about getting into music at the time. They're like, right, what's the first step you need to take to get there? And that's what they do. And they'll bridge out your first step. Right, we'll support you to get to that first step. And they keep making you take steps to reach your dream. Whereas you might not reach your dream, but you're taking this authentic journey of yourself. Yeah. And there you will find your life that you love and you will fight for and you won't want to let go, because it's something, a path that you followed with your hobbies and your interests, you know. So it was helping people build a life that they will fight to keep rather than go back into the life that they were living. And it was just totally different. It was like, reach for the stars and you'll find where you're meant to go. Rather than, oh, you've got no hope, go and get a job in Tesco's, be miserable and end up back in the life you were in because you weren't happy.
So where's that light bulb moment that is, so that's a light bulb moment for you, but then what makes you go, I want that, but I want that in Wales?
Because the way I felt in them services, if I had felt them a long time ago and been able to go in and get that support in a place where I wasn't I wasn't in fear when I went into the place. Do you know what I mean? My anxiety wasn't through the roof because I was sat in a clinical place. Like, I had problems with authority. Put me in front of a desk and I'm feeling issues already. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we're sat on a sofa now, so we can have a conversation and we can talk about things. Whereas if we were sat across that desk, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to talk like this. I'd be sat there the whole... Nah, what? You know, I wouldn't be able to. So there's a difference. And if you want people to get support, they say Maslow's hierarchy. You know, everybody needs that bottom rung of safety and secureness. And they want people to put that in place in their lives. Well, why ain't organisations utilising that and embedding that in their services where the healing is supposed to start?
I like that.
You know?
Yeah.
Where the services is where the healing starts, and then we take it out into our own lives. So we have to be able to feel safe in order to heal.
So that's your, because you've basically told us what the Empower Her project is.
Yeah.
So that's where you.
So it's going to be a safe space for women. It's going to be luxuriously designed living space, gym space, a big massive kitchen, training area, and holistic therapies like massage, Reiki, reflexology. And it's going to bridge the gap between services and women. So women can come, this will be their hub. They will have a say. So once the bills are paid, we'll sit down as a team meeting and we will plan as a team where the project goes, because it's their project. You know what I mean? And if you give people the autonomy and make them part of your project, then the project will run itself, because there'll be respect there. They will invest themselves in what you're saying, you know, and ours is all about empowerment, building each other up, you know. So it's just going to be a space where women can come, they can be safe. Other services can come into a space where they feel safe and they can open up and get the support that they need.
Wow. Wow. Good at it.
Yeah, the idea is there. It's just, you've got to get there now.
No, but you've started
Yes, I started. So I've run. So what I did, I put some funding and I jumped straight in, you know, eager beaver, put in funding bid straight for the property, and they were like, evidence. Yeah. So I got some money off the lottery and some knockbacks. So I had to rethink, designed a course, the She Rises course, a 6-week pilot. So I just finished that with Women with Nelson's Trust. Women in Nelson's Trust.
Is that the video that I saw?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
It is good.
It was actually, it went 10 times better than I could.
No, because I think from the, because it was only a short video that you sent me, but from what I saw, every single person in that room actually had a voice, which is, usually you will have main characters that constantly, but actually everybody, and I think, which is really weird, your voice was the least spoken, which is, from my knowledge of you, yeah.
But it was feedback, so I didn't want to get involved.
Yeah, it was really good.
So I had feedback forms on each week. We had a workbook, and one of the girls started reading the questions out, and they started talking. So I just said, "Stop there a minute, girls. Do you mind if I just stick the phone on?" And I just stood in the corner and they carried on talking and answering the questions. So they went through the list. Instead of just filling out the form, I just stood there. I think I chirped in at one stage and went, yes, because they said something. I was like, oh, shit. Shh.
No,
I didn't want to get involved.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
want my voice to
It
be
was
heard. I
really
wanted
good.
them to give their own opinions in it.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions, and then obviously you can ask me anything you want. So let's go back in time. Okay, so if you could go back in time and you could change anything, it's a two-part question. If you could change anything, one, what would it be? And two, why? If there was anything.
I don't know. Because years ago I would have said I would have changed a lot of things, but because of where I am today, I don't think I'd change anything. I don't think I would.
Yeah.
Everything I've been through has given me what I have today. My mum's friends used to say to my mum all the time, because my brother's on drugs, so he's mental health, he is worse. He's been on them for years. My brother, serious mental health problems. My mum used to always worry about my brother. And her friends used to say to her, why don't you worry about Danielle? And my mum used to say, Danielle's on a journey. She's just got to go through this to get to where she's going. She'll be fine. And she used to say it for years. And everyone used to say, don't worry about her. And she's just getting her experience.
You've been on a journey.
Yeah.
To be fair, most people with a lived experience will often say, wouldn't change anything.
No.
Okay. So about this
There's probably like little things if I
Yeah.
really thought deep,
But-
or
but
change this
but they
incident
wouldn't-
or that incident.
Yeah, but they always lead you to certain things. It's like the fact of you, all the things that you go through as a kid with the childhood trauma, with the domestic violence and getting kicked out of school, then leads you to meet this guy. But then this guy happens to give you a son. If you change all that before that, you don't get to meet this Irish guy and go. Although what it brings afterwards, you know what I mean? But it's still that fact.
It's like all the years I moved around to schools. Like, yeah, that was traumatic in itself, just moving around the schools. But I can move in any circle. You know, I've been able
I get what you
to,
mean.
different jobs, different, you know, it doesn't matter because I'm not afraid to move.
Because there's been times when you've had 24 hours to get somebody, get your story out and then move on, and you knew it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
like there's a lot of benefits that I picked up from the trauma that I experienced.
No, of
when I was
course,
younger.
yeah. So
Transferable skills.
What advice would you give to your younger self? So that's not changing anything. That's what advice, because the reason why I'm saying that now is because there's a stage where you go 14 years old, 15 years old, you're able to drive and you're being used for criminal exploitation. So I'm guessing there's a period where if somebody would have come to you at that stage and gone, whoa, Danielle. So what advice would you give to your younger self? Let's go teenage younger self. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I don't know, see, because I don't know whether my younger self would have listened. However good the advice was. I don't know, see, I thought I was a grown woman. Somebody sent me a picture the other day from when I went to Dublin. And, you know, the thoughts I have in my head was, yeah, I was a grown woman when I went to Dublin. I seen the picture the other day.
You're a baby.
I was a baby. Yeah. But I don't know. My downfall has always been emotional stuff. So it'd have to be something around, I don't know, it'd have to be something around that. That was my downfall always. It was always what got me into trouble when I got emotionally invested in things. And that is, I don't know, protect my heart more.
Protect your heart more. Okay. Did you have a hero growing up? And who was it, if you did?
No.
No hero. Okay. So what advice would you give to the younger generation, females? What advice would you give now to them?
Just don't give parts of yourself away for people. You need to know who you are, and that doesn't come at 14, 15 or 16. You don't know who you are. You think you're a big woman and, you know, there's nothing else for you to learn in life. I thought I was a big woman at that age, and I realised I was still making mistakes at 30. You know, you're not grown. People will take advantage of you. You know, make sure you're in safe circles. Yeah. you're looking after your friends, you know, you're sticking together as girls, because like, where has that gone? You know, go out on a night out. If you go out together, you come home together, like protect each other. You know, there's not women, I don't know, there used to be good groups of women before. Like I remember back in the olden days, and like, you know, all the women would get together and there'd be community, and they'd all be cooking, and there doesn't seem to be any of that no more amongst women. You know, and it's a lot of bitterness, a lot of competitiveness, social media. Like social media have destroyed everything.
Don't even get me started. That's a whole different realm altogether. So I ain't got no more questions for you. But however, I would like you to explain the importance of childhood trauma and the lasting impact that it does have. Because I know that's with your forte.
It's just people don't realize, you know, people don't realize how much of an impact it has. You know, you think something that happens as a child, you know, and then nothing else happens. If a trauma happens, it can be 15, 20 years before that shows its face. You know, you could have a normal life for years, and one thing happens and it will destroy your whole life because you haven't looked after, hadn't had that counselling, haven't dealt with it. If you have a life like mine, where you have trauma on top of trauma, on top of trauma, on top of trauma, by the time you were 10, you know, I was labelled as a naughty child. I had behavioural issues. I didn't know how to communicate because there was only ever shouting and screaming in my house. It took me until I got to St. Giles, 2021, so I was like 40, before I learned how to have a conversation without raising my voice.
And I think people don't realise the strong links between addiction and trauma. It's crazy. It's crazy how significant those links are.
Yeah, if you don't deal with it, like I grew up in the 90s, so there was no noticing of learning difficulties, ADHD or autism, and the trauma gives the same responses as those. So nobody was recognising them signs back then, you know, and these all have impact on your learning, on the way your relationships are for the rest of your life. Like that's one area I've sorted all of my life out. I do not go down the road of relationships. Like that's a whole can of worms I haven't even ever thought about it. No. So like, you know, stick to the professional stuff and the stuff I can deal with.
Well, it's because it's that added. It adds to, and I think because now, I think that not the difficulty, because it's probably the wrong word to use, but I think people don't seem to realise that now most things are put in these little cocoons now of neurodiverse. So everything's put in this little bubble of neurodiverse, but what they're not realising that there's people of our generation that live with have been neurodiverse for 20, 30 years and actually have never had any help with it.
Yeah.
And like you say, and I've said it myself, suppress, because you've been living that life and trying to make it work to your advantage. However, whilst doing that in your own brain, you've actually been making mistakes and they've been the wrong decisions that you've been making.
Yeah. Or just by masking.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I just don't think people fail to acknowledge that in others.
Yeah.
And it's only if you've lived that life that you then can say, actually, I can see that in you. I can see it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of lived experience.
Yeah, definitely. That's like my whole team now in my full-time job. Like they're all neurodiverse, all lived experience. And it's a crazy team, literally crazy, but what a team. Yeah. Like there's not one person that can walk through the door where we haven't got somebody who's experienced something similar who can sit down and talk to them on a level like nobody else can. You know, so yeah, lived experience is what you need, especially in frontline work. Yeah. Like you've got to have some understanding of.
And there's people that can do it.
Oh, they can do it.
Yeah, they can do it. But I think if you really want to get down to the bones of things and give somebody an understanding, say, listen, I know what you're saying. I've been there. I've done maybe not the same circumstances. However, This is my road that I went down. This is the path that I lead. You are just at the beginning of this path. I don't want you to follow the same. You know, people meant to learn from other. You know, you meant to learn from your mistakes, but a smart person learns from somebody else's mistakes, which is always a bonus.
Yes.
So yeah, I wish you every success. Just out of curiosity, do you know this the Empower Her project? Is it anything to do with the conversation that we were doing before we started, with this new thing that you're linking up with? Is that going to be info?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be good. Now I've seen the link.
Yes.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Wow!
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully that will be.
I really hope that comes off then.
Yes.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't say that bit.
Yeah. Well, you think let me get
Can't
to
tell me
that bit
everything.
earlier.
Okay, so Danielle, it's your question now, so you can again ask any question you want.
Okay. So, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, Carl?
Oh, do you know what? It's only because I've been asked the question previously where it's so easy for me to
Oh,
answer.
come on then.
I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
I just want, personally,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just want to be happy. I think because of...
Have you managed to find that yet? Since you turned your life around?
No. I haven't found it yet.
I only find it in work at the moment.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's bad to say it. It's quite bad to say it, but yeah, a lot of it is work, because people don't get it. Is because it occupies your mind. People don't realise it's a key thing for people that have lived with trauma and suppressed it for so many years and compounded it, shall we say. You need to keep your mind active, because the day that you don't keep your mind active is the day that you'll blow. It'll be that release valve and it'll go shh.
Yeah.
And that's when you will finally lose control of your mind, which people who have neurodiversity or have lived with trauma, people don't realise is people living that life can't afford for that to happen.
No, I don't take days off work.
Yeah, because the scary bit is because it's the thought of the unknown. What will happen?
Yeah.
Like I said, my biggest fear is Alzheimer's and Parkinson. To think that this is gonna go off, like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, take a leg.
Yeah.
Don't let me lose my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I've got anything against it, but
No, of course, yeah.
It's just my tablets, I keep saying, but I have 20 things open at a time, and I'm constantly going back, and I go and I do it, and I go, right, okay, and then I flag emails, and I go, right, I need to flag, that's the ADHD, and I flag emails, and then I write things down, and I have a way of doing the writing now, so I'll write a sentence normal, joined up, but then every so often you'll get a word that's in capitals, and then every so often you'll get another word that's not in capitals, but I've gone over it 3 times, so it stands, so it bulges out, so it's like you're reading it and it goes, it blurts out, so it's, there's key things. So yeah, for me, it genuinely is just, I just want to be happy, but I know that there's so many elements that I have to do before I get to that happiness, and I know that's going to be, it's like go see a counsellor and do other things. So yeah, long term, I just want to be happy.
Yeah, I suppose. So do we all, though, don't we?
Yeah, but then it's everybody has a different definition of happiness. Because some people, I want the house, this, that, and that'll make me happy. I want to bring money.
I've had all that.
Yeah, I want to bring money in the bank.
I've had all of that. When people says, "What do you?" and I'm like, "What does happiness mean?" No,
it's true, because
I don't know what it means.
I don't.
I've lived rich. I've lived poor. So I know it's not material things, but I haven't found it yet.
I think personally, happiness for me, I mean, I'm literally guessing, but I think happiness for me is where I no longer have to, I'm going to use your word, disassociate myself.
Yeah.
I think that's when I'll go, I'm happy now, where everything's out. And I think that's what's probably going to be so difficult for me.
I think I'd be too scared to let everything out.
And that's the problem, innit? That's the issue. It's the fact of knowing the person that you're going to say something to is going to have an element of you because you've actually given that to them.
Yeah.
And that's the scary bit.
Yeah.
Especially...
I don't like feeling vulnerable at all.
That's what
or
it is.
weak. And it does, even though we know that being vulnerable is not a weakness, in the moment, you still, and like I tell people all the time, being vulnerable is a good thing.
No, I think vulnerable is a good thing.
It is a good thing, but
it's dependent on how it is accepted. I think that's the key. So, as an example, if you was vulnerable to me, based on lived experience and based that clearly we've gone through, maybe not similar, but we're talking trauma, then how I would respond to you is then different to how somebody else might respond to you, which then doesn't make you feel as vulnerable, because the other person you speak to might have an understanding of that.
Then that all depends as well by how you was brought up, and so my mum brought me up as a single mother, even though she was like in and out of violent relationships. She brought me up as a single mother, and she betted into my head, very young age, you don't need a man for nothing. Yeah. You don't need a man for nothing. That was what got me into trouble, because I would go out and compete with boys on the street. Anything they could do, I could do better. And like my mum, I wasn't allowed to show weakness. I wasn't allowed to show any sort of weakness at all. My mum would have battered me if I had...
Allegedly.
Yes. My mum would tell you herself, yeah.
No, but I
back in the day.
Yeah, I get it, because again, growing up with that generation, for boys, no. Big boys don't cry. You're acting like a girl, for man up.
And that my uncles made me go on the punch bag, no gloves, I don't think you're the oldest, you're like the man of the house. And I was treated like that. I was one of the boys. So like I wasn't allowed to cry, I wasn't allowed to lose a fight, I wasn't allowed to, you know what I mean, talking.
Yeah,
no.
You lose a fight, you better go back out there.
My mum would have made me go back out there. It happened many a times. If I run in scared, she would march me straight back out there and say, right, you deal with them or you're dealing with me. I would deal with them quicker.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to hit back when it's your mum. That was, you know, you raise your hands and go, what? Oh, you want to hold your hands up against it? Right, no. A couple more. But allegedly, by the way, allegedly. But no, Danielle, thank you. Thank you very much for coming up. It's actually been a good insight to pick a brain, especially to talk on the trauma side of things. And I do wish you all the success with the Empower Her project, CIC.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm all over socials.
Oh, you're all over LinkedIn, I know that.
Yes, I know how to work social media. I was a 90s kid, I know how to work the internet.
Social media, it does my head in, honestly.
My head in. It's a full-time job on its own, and I'm doing it for 3 organisations right now. So
yeah, it's mad. But no, I genuinely wish you all the luck with that. And I'm sure you're going to go back with your evidence, are you? So you're taking that evidence? So
I have that evidence. I have put funding already to run an extended pilot now. Which will take me into next year's funding. And then obviously, you know, getting that property.
God willing.
Yes. So
we'll say that.
Yeah.
God willing. Well, no, thank you for coming up.
Yes.
And
well, pleasure.
Oh, no, the pleasure's all mine. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.